Welcome to the Vault this week. We have lots of great stuff scheduled for you. We have an interview with Julia Roussos.
Yes.
She's a doctor of nursing at the VA.
Amazing woman.
We talk about the Olympics. We talk about marathon running with her, a lot of other things.
Yep.
Julia and I, we break down the Olympics and some of our favorite things. We talk about, we have a lot of outtakes this week. And also,
Lucky us. Lucky you.
Right? Also for you Erie folks, we do the amazing donut taste test. H&K and Mighty Fine.
No.
Dun, dun, dun. So we take donuts and we're going to
compare.
And we're going to compare them. We're going to compare them and contrast. Stay tuned. Episode this week. We're going to do donuts. We're going to talk to Julia. And we have lots of fun in store. See you next in the vault. Hey folks, welcome into the vault. I'm Nick.
I'm Julie.
And we're here today with Julia. We're here with Julia Roussos.
Dr. Julia Roussos.
Dr. Julia Roussos. She doesn't like that we use that title, I hear, but that's okay. Because you know what? You put in the work to become, have that title, right? That's a title. Some people like to use it. And, some people are always like, oh, it's Dr. so-and-so. But, it's cool. It's an accomplishment. Right?
I've insisted to be called Master Julie.
Master Julie.
I have my master's in education, so please call me Master Julie.
Do you remember when I remember when I was younger, like when you're, how they have like Miss for girls, but like for guys, when they're younger, they go by Master. Mm-hmm. And that's so weird. But I remember getting like cards from like a family member. It's like Master.
That is correct.
Master and in real estate, we're really not supposed to say something is a master bedroom. We're kind of like told not to do that anymore.
That's for other reasons.
Right. But
also
family rooms, that's not really a thing we should do either. Because that's just the assumption.
Family rooms now. So what do we call family rooms now?
Flex room or flex space or den, living quarters, second living
area. See, Julia, we just go off. See,
I see that.
You just got to stay up with us, right?
Julie's I don't know what they call it.
She's like, you know what? Do I need to be here?
Well, you said your daughter is in podcasting, and she talks about living areas. So maybe we'll have her. We'll talk about living quarters.
Yeah, she's from Erie. Right? She doesn't live here anymore. Well, no, she's really via Texas because my husband was in the military, and that's where she was born on United States government property.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. That's awesome. That's really cool.
But she grew up here.
Okay. So she's from there. So anyway, we did bring you on. And I don't know, I know Julie invited you to come on to the show today with us and thought you'd be a good guest with us. Do you know why she picked to have you on?
No, I do not.
Oh, come on!
I have no reason.
You are being humble, lady.
Yeah, right.
She's being humble. Well, first of all, I want to first start off with what you do. Tell everybody what your profession is. What is it that you do every day?
I am a nurse practitioner with a specialty in family and gerontology.
Okay. And where do you work? Where do you practice with that?
I practice at the local VA center.
Okay.
I do home visits, what we call home-based primary care.
Yeah. Well, that's really something. You're helping out the veterans. Sounds like you said your husband was in the military.
Yes, he was. United States Air Force.
So you're into that. You're engrossed.
Go Air Force.
Right.
Go Air Force.
I like Air Force too. Air Force is cool. They're the ones that fly, and it's just kind of it's kind of a cool vibe.
And they're aren't they a faction of Space Force too?
I don't know.
I think Space Force.
I think it's its own thing.
I think it's not part
That's
of it.
That's a new addition. So I don't know. That was not there when
I'm still so fascinated about this. You know this. We've talked about it.
I think at one point, maybe Air Force, like before it became a thing, maybe they had a little bit to do with that, I guess, or something like that. But
now, so you say
so
that
your husband hasn't been to space.
No.
Right.
No.
You say that you're helping people, like you do the in-home. Is that after they're released from the hospital, or is it like
no? It's those who cannot get out of their home for whatever reason, or they have very complex medical histories, and they just regular primary care doesn't have the time to handle the work. So, and they don't mind us coming into their home. We have a whole team of medical professionals that go out to them instead of them coming to us.
What an amazing
That's really
service.
cool.
I mean, honestly, it's so hard. Oftentimes people get a little bit nervous even going into the hospital, let alone being treated at one. So what that to me is an amazing service that you're providing for the families, for them, for everybody. So I would imagine that's pretty hard work also.
Yes, it's very time consuming, but it's very much worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of amazing ladies and gentlemen, our veterans.
Absolutely. No, that's really cool that you're helping. A lot of times those folks are, forgotten, and that's really, they come back and they've served our country, and they deserve dignity and to be treated well and stuff like that. I think the VA is an amazing program that we have that. Oh, there's a thing down there.
Julia, do that on purpose. Like, do that on purpose. I want to hear that. I want to hear it again. Do it. Oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's like
it's like one of the,
the coolest thing
like
ever.
One of the little coils behind the door.
I'm telling you, I love it. So, but
no, that's really cool that you chose. Now, did you choose to go into VA, or did you just kind of fall into that?
No, I chose that after.
Yeah.
I mean, I had worked at another local hospital for 21 some odd years as a nurse and a nurse practitioner, and then I got the opportunity and I took it.
That's really cool. You found your calling. And as far as the nurse practitioner and all that, is that something more recent that you've gone into, or have you been doing that for a long time?
28 years.
Wow, that's really cool.
That is a long time.
So you
that
started when you were a wee little child.
Yeah,
right?
no, I wasn't that young.
No,
I'd been a nurse for 10 years when that.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, that's
Still,
really cool.
that's rather fresh though.
Yeah.
When we oftentimes Nick and I, and you and I have too, we've talked about the generations like millennials and Gen Xers and Gen Zers now. So when we're talking about, you've been doing this for quite some time, and you go into people's homes and you see all these different age groups and family members and people in need. And then you get new employees that I would suspect you'd have to train them. What are some of the things that you impart to them about this job, the importances that you want them to understand?
Well, just like with physicians, nurse practitioners do no harm. So you always want to be looking for the, treating people with, dignity, respect. And remember, the veteran should come first when we're considering what we're doing. It should be for their benefit and not necessarily for ours.
Okay.
That's good. So have you found, I guess over the years, obviously, you've probably treated different generations of veterans as well. I'm sure you've, in your career, you've treated people that were in like World War II and, and then, into Vietnam. And I'm sure you have folks that were in, Iraq and Afghanistan and things like that too. So do you find that there, is it a similar, the way veterans kind of come back, the way they're treated, the way they've sort of been treated in the military, things like that? Do you find that it's sort of similar, or have there been just sort of changes over the years with the way that stuff like that is handled?
Definitely different.
Yeah.
We still have some of our World War II veterans with us.
Yeah.
Who are awesome. They're called the Greatest Generation.
They are. They are.
Our boomers. And then I've had some of the younger men and women, not recently, because I've been in home-based primary care for about almost 10 years now.
Okay.
And they're generally to be older. A little, yes.
Okay.
Our silent generation, that's another I think they would be Vietnam era, I would think.
Silent. Yeah,
I think
Silent was a little older than Boomer, right? Wasn't Silent the one in between Greatest Generation and Boomer?
Yeah.
I think that probably the Vietnam veterans have had it rough in one way. The Iraq and veterans have had it tough in another way. So it's all different. They all had a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
World War II veterans were not allowed to talk about their traumas.
Yeah.
Or they, it was not something that anybody did. Vietnam, same thing. Plus, they were not well received when they returned home.
Right. Probably more so than any other generation of military. I would say the Vietnam was sort of treated in that.
And also, too, America's gone through cultural changes too. Like their appreciation for the military has waxed and waned throughout the years, I would think.
Correct.
Which is unfortunate. we again, another conversation we've had before is how America even started.
Yeah,
Like,
we talked about that before. We're a bunch of spare parts. And Julia's like, I don't know about that.
Oh, I don't know. But I mean, like, so there's a lot of history, even in our short history of how our generations have adapted to military and American pride and that kind of thing too. So
for sure.
What, and I know you can't talk about any specifics, but what would you say is the most challenging thing that you do on a daily?
Sometimes it's getting people to realize the seriousness of their illnesses and what they can reasonably expect to do with the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, most of them are older.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that's a little hard for us to give up, no matter what age you are, to give up something that you may hold very near and dear to you.
Mm-hmm.
Driving is a big issue for the older people to try to know when it's time to give that up.
Mm-hmm.
Having those conversations is very difficult. Having conversation is very difficult, that there's not a whole lot left of your life if you haven't really thought about it too much. So those are probably the most difficult things.
Sure.
And that's on your shoulders. And what made you, and I know I'm jumping way out of what we just talked about, having the compassion.
She's like, what's coming next?
Yeah. She's raising herself. Dear Lord, now what?
Yeah, right.
But you talk about what is hardest, having that compassion and trying to put yourself in their place while you're explaining these harder things to them. It seems like you would do a very good job because you are, I feel, an intuitive person who understands people very well, but on top of it, you're learning about these people as you go. Some of them you may not know, some of them you've known for a while, so you get rather close to them. I would think that you have a lot of emotion that you have to either show or hold back. I mean, I'm not sure where you are with this emotionally, but this is a very emotional thing you've been doing for 28 years, I would think.
Definitely. You get very attached to some people.
Yeah.
Some people challenge you, and I think that's important too. Everybody can't always be think you're the most wonderful person, and they can also be very challenging you with just questioning you, or maybe not particularly caring about, not liking you. Mm-hmm. I know that seems kind of weird from it's a professional relationship you have, but there is that you have to contend with. Mm-hmm. But I think they make you grow. And I think that's important to know that not everybody's going to like you. And you just have to remember to maintain and you're not going to like everybody. You just have to maintain your professional demeanor with them and know how to talk to people. Some people you can be more friendly with. Other people you remain very, very professional and not get too involved. Some behavioral health issues do not lend kindly to that kind, because then they'll just kind of latch on to you, and that's not a good spot for you to be at. You need to be a therapeutic person in their life, not a friend.
I'll tell you what, that's a hard thing, and you're the authority almost, really, if you think about it, and you have to kind of you have to watch and understand the nuances of this.
Well, you have to understand that although I'm supposed to be the expert in the area, they are the expert at them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that is what you can't, and you're a partner with them. You're not above them. You're not below them. You are a partner in that relationship.
Wow.
And I think that's really important to remember. Anybody working with their healthcare professional, you should not feel intimidated by them. You should not let them bully you into doing something that you don't feel comfortable with.
Right.
And by the same mean, you have to remember, have to stand up for yourself and fight for things you think you should have.
Wow.
And I think that's very important to remember, that
honestly,
they are your partner, not your person that tells you what to do.
If there is one thing that could be the gem of this conversation, it's that, just right what you just said. Understanding that these people are trying to advocate for themselves, and that deserves the respect in and of itself. Wow.
And even if you don't agree with them, that's I don't always agree with everybody's choices, but that's not my place. My place is to give the most expert information that I have on a topic, and then learn to step back and let them make that decision themselves.
What a compassionate thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I have a question. It kind of goes along with that. So obviously in life, we deal with people as they age and become unhealthy, and unfortunately part of life is the end of life and stuff like that too. Have you found that being in the field that you are, do you approach those things with like your family and other friends and things like that as you approach those health crises or maybe end of life with some of those folks? Do you find that you've been able to kind of take those skills that you've learned and apply them in your personal life?
Yeah, to an extent.
Yeah.
I try to stay out of my family's medical business unless they bring me into it.
Right.
If they do, then I feel that's okay to discuss it. But
Hey,
I've
Julia.
been burned a few
Right.
times
It's
trying
like,
to
Julia,
discuss.
I have a rash.
Right.
No.
And I want you to tell me, what should I do about it?
Do you have
I'm
family
fine.
and friends that text you with questions? You
They do.
definitely do.
They do. And
I got a really
that's
itchy rash. I
Yeah.
don't know what to do about it, Julia. Like, you've got to get those phone calls all the damn time, I would think.
I will say
It's not
that
that bad.
it's invaluable to have a medical care professional in your family. I think that it helps you have an advocate. I think that I've seen over the years with different aging relatives or people that are sick. I happen to have an uncle that's a doctor in town, so you bounce those questions off of that
Absolutely.
person, and I think it honestly, I think in general, I think it improves your health. So if you're watching and if you have children that are thinking about get into the medical profession, because it will help your life going forward. Because I think it does. I mean, it's invaluable because I think sometimes you see people and they don't have that advocate. Now you seem like someone who definitely becomes that advocate for people no matter what. And I think
I can
that
if
you
I'm
seem
invited.
authentic.
Yeah, I just
And
think
I
people have
think
to.
that's you have that thoughtful side to you. I like the way that some of the questions that we asked. I like that you took a second to think about what you were going to say and collected your thoughts. That just seems very genuine, and I like that about you. So I think that you do very well, I'm sure, with the people that you work with.
When you say you through all of it, you're growing, and that's definitely not stagnant behavior.
Right.
You're at 28 years now and you're not stagnating, you're growing, which I love. And when in the process did you decide to get your doctorate? Like, how far into this job were you?
Oh, it's been always a dream of mine. Originally, when I was a kid, I thought it would be a physician.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I read a book called The Making of a Surgeon by William Nolan.
Wow.
And I love that book. I read it at least 12 times. I
Wow.
recommend it to anybody, but it really, obviously it's dated now, 1970, but
Sure.
it just made me think that I wanted to get into the medical profession. As I worked as a ward clerk, unit secretary for a while, and that's where I got to see really where the roles were. And I just thought, I always kind of thought it'd be nice to have a hybrid between nursing and physicians. But at the time that I wasn't aware of the nurse practitioner role, although that really didn't solidify into the 80s sometime. I think it first came around in the 70s, but it wasn't well known.
It's not as big as it is now. I mean, now every practice has a practitioner.
Correct. But when I got into it in the 90s, it was still not a very well known. People had no idea what I was.
I think it's a great program that's enabled a lot more people to get into the medical field.
You marry the nursing aspects, because nursing has their own field, their own discipline, and their own theories.
Sure.
That you meld with the medical information, and that's what a nurse practitioner is.
Okay.
And so I always wanted to get my doctorate. Obviously, you have to have a master's to be a nurse practitioner, so that came. At the time I got my master's, there wasn't the opportunity to go on at the time and get a doctorate, but Gannon University locally here, it came up, and it was like, hey, why not? Because I always wanted that.
I love that.
So is that something? If people are out there and they're watching us and they're a nurse now, I mean, obviously you'd suggest to do that, but is it something that you think people should look into more?
I do. Yeah. I think to keep up with all of our colleagues in the medical field, pretty much all the different colleagues have a doctoral programs, and I think it's important for nurses to be at the same level.
And plus it shows like your track record. Okay, so you start off with this. You had moments throughout your career where you rededicated, basically, is what this is. You got your master's and you got your doctorate. So you keep rededicating yourself to this purpose. So it's very I help people try to find their purpose and their journey, and you're on it, and you keep rededicating yourself to it, and you're so compassionate about it. So it just seems like the fit is really good, and for you to be able to say I'm still growing, it's not like you know it all. I mean, and nobody does, and you're still trying to know more. So it's a testament to you to be able to rededicate over and over again to something that you're passionate about. So
we really appreciate you coming in today, Julia. I think that's a lot of good information. We've kept it a little heavy with the conversation right now. We're gonna tone it down a little bit. If you stick with us, we're gonna
tone it down,
lighten it up a little.
We're gonna lighten it up. If you stick with us, we have some donuts to taste test. Do you want to stay with us and try some donuts?
And on the healthy
donuts.
Yeah, exactly.
We're talking about the health profession.
We like to push people's limits. Yeah. So we like to bring people that are in the medical field, and we're like, we're going to eat donuts. Or we like to.
It's not like she's in recovery for donut eating.
No, I know, but we have like an insurance guy, and we're going to drink alcohol with it. I mean, there's just like different. We like
pushing
to
the envelope.
Push those envelopes.
That's right. We've got a nurse practitioner with her doctor eating donuts on our show. Exactly. I'm pretty stoked.
So we're gonna talk about the donuts. I think maybe we'll talk a little bit about the Olympics too, because you've been watching that a lot, and maybe about Cape Cod, which you have on your shirt there. So, all right, stick with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks. We're back in the vault. We're here with Julia Roussos. If you're just tuning in, if you fast forwarded through to see what else
you put
we
have
that going
double
on.
speed, that 2x speed. That'll sound really weird when they listen to it really fast.
When they listen to it fast. So we are here. So if any of you are from Erie, which I assume most of our viewers are, you know that we take our donuts seriously in Erie. We like our donuts, and there are a couple institutions in town here with donuts, and we know the Mighty Fines.
And this is the second time we're talking about it on our podcast since we started.
Second time we're on Mighty Fine. Here, let's see. We do Mighty Fine donuts. There.
Can you see it?
Right? Can you see? Well, I don't want to dump them out.
Okay, well, here. Let me.
Maybe you can
let's do that. Okay, yeah.
And then
I'll play Vanna White for a second. Here's the Mighty Fines, everybody. See?
And then we have if you're from the West Side, or just in town in general, but I feel like it's more of a West Side cult following maybe or whatever. But if you're from
I'm going to debunk that. She's from the West Side, and
she didn't even know it.
I've never had them.
Well, so we're going to introduce a West Sider to the goodness of the West Side here.
Goodness.
So there's H&K Donuts, and so obviously it's a Sunday morning when we're recording here. So the show is going to be released on a Thursday, but this is a Sunday morning, so we like to still do Sunday morning things. And Sunday morning things, what's a Sunday morning without donuts, right?
Listen, my mom used to. My mom, I want to just share this really quick story. She used to give us Mighty Fine donuts in my mailboxes. Mailbox is actually like a milk delivery box built in the side of our house. It's like it's like from 100 years ago.
So it's a little bigger than a
So she would drop off a dozen donuts in our milk box every Sunday. So it was a nice tradition. Now I can't get away with that now.
Why not? Why not, Julie?
Oh no, I can't.
So anyway, so we're gonna do a taste test. We're gonna compare the two. We went over to both. I stopped and got the H&K on the way over
Box
here.
Box 153. We've got some stuff coming out here.
Does Mighty Fine say when they were originated on their box? I don't know if they do.
No, they don't. But we can look it up.
H&K says 1959.
Okay.
So a little history. I talked to the guy who owned H&K, and I know the folks that they just sold Mighty Fine to the folks that I think part of the partnership is people that have Otis 12 or something. So chicken wings and donuts. What more? What more? Right?
And wine.
So from what I understand is the Mighty Fine and H&K, and then the other Jack Frost that I don't think is anymore. But
correct.
I think the three of them were always very kind of tied together. They all kind of opened around the same time. And I think that I want to say the original guy with H&K actually helped run Mighty Fine, and then Jack Frost, and like, so the recipes are very similar. And that's when
I did not know that.
when they went to the war, speaking of veterans, one would cover for the other, because they opened these family businesses with the donuts and stuff like that. And they've had different iterations, like Mighty Fine used to have a bunch of spots. I think back in like the 80s, there were a bunch of Mighty Fines around town, and now there's just the one, and stuff like that. So there is a history of the donuts in town, which is
I wonder if they're German descent. I mean, because the pastries usually,
it could be. Yeah.
My grandfather did donuts and had an ice cream shop, and he was 100% Polish. So I don't know.
If it helps, so the last name of the guy that owns H&K is Krieger, so that would be German.
That would make sense. So, yeah, that sounds correct.
And I think that might be the K. For
okay,
H&K.
interesting.
So,
that's good history.
So it might be a German thing. So so we have. Between the two, we have chocolate covered, cream filled from both places,
and we also have pinwheels,
cinnamon pinwheels. So we wanted to have the same donut from both places to see if there's, first of all, to see if there's really any difference. So all right, so we're gonna start with pinwheel. So everyone grab a pinwheel.
I'm going in.
Who are we gonna do? Mighty Fine first.
I'm gonna do the Mighty Fine first. Okay.
So
and pay attention to texture. We really should have a score sheet. Like pay attention to texture.
All right. Should we just take like the one bite and then do one bite of the other just to kind of cleanse it? All right.
So I'm going to grab this. So I'm not touching it.
All right. Take that sip. And then we'll do our other. Similar.
The texture is totally different between the two.
It's a little bit of a different texture.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like I don't like either one. I do.
For both great.
For different reasons.
I think we're going to find out that both are just really good. And that's going to be one of our...
Well, kudos to all of them.
Right?
It's very good, both of them.
Both of them kind of... You can taste that... you can taste that they were like the
They're
fried.
cinnamony.
They have that sort of... they almost kind of have that taste of that fried dough from like a carnival.
The pinwheel,
the
pinwheel has that. The pinwheel, I mean, the H&K has the like almost like a carnival density to it, whereas the Mighty Fine,
it's a little denser. Yeah.
This just tastes like a typical donut. I don't taste the density at all in this. Like
I could see, yeah.
I prefer the texture of the donut better than the density of the pinwheel at H&K. I prefer the donut density, but like H&K was going for a different.
I think that's what do you think, Julia? What do you think the difference is?
He's like, wow. She's like, you know what? This is insane.
They're good donuts, people. I would highly recommend either one of them.
It's like, I'm not getting into this.
No, because they're both good.
They are both good.
They are a little different, yes, but they are very, very good. I think you can enjoy either one.
I think you're right. Happy. I think the Mighty Fine is a little airier. I think that and it would be a little denser with the H&K. Similar flavors.
Yes.
So it kind of, I guess it sort of comes down to
who knew you'd be doing a donut taste test in the middle of your interview.
So it comes down to if you like dense or airy
for your pinwheel.
So. Correct.
All right, so we'll cleanse our palate and go into the cream fill.
Okey-doke.
So we'll do Mighty Fine first for this one too. So it's this one.
Yep.
So this is Mighty Fine.
Mighty Fine's on the right.
This is Mighty Fine. Oh, I didn't get a lot of cream. Oh, darn.
Well, here's some more. Just scoop it up.
Scoop
up some cream there.
Because I wanted to try a little bit.
Okay, the cream is very good. In the Mighty Fine.
If you got it. I like that donut. I mean, it's a good donut.
It is a good donut.
I like the chocolate with the cream. It's good. Yeah, get some cream on this one too. The heck. All right.
Yeah, this is hard. Again, the consistency is totally different. What do you think?
It's not hard.
No, it's
Don't
hard
you
to
make people think it's stale. It's
No.
denser.
It's
No,
denser.
no. I don't mean hard. I mean it's hard to figure out.
Oh,
which
the
one-
difference.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It sounded like you were saying that it was hard.
No,
No,
you're right.
but it's denser.
I think
just
it's
like
denser too.
Just like their cinnamon
Mm-hmm.
situation here, it was denser, and this one's a little more fluffier.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
Taste is very similar on both.
Correct.
And
They're
I think it
excellent.
has to do with maybe, what do you think? A little less flour, or a little more flour, or like a little longer.
Maybe
in the
less.
fryer,
Maybe
little,
less.
something like that. Maybe
less yeast, possibly.
Maybe a little less yeast.
Because
maybe
you're gonna have more Erie if you have more yeast. I think.
But they're both great.
Yeah.
they are. They are both very good.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely a different flavor between the two of them. I can pick that up. It's almost like I feel like it's a deeper taste to the H&Ks.
Their taste, there's more taste notes there.
Yes, like it's almost like it's just deeper, like a deeper, longer lasting flavor.
Yeah,
almost.
Interesting. No, it really is. I mean, I always kind of wanted to sit and do this, and it was just something that this morning she called me and she's like, "I'm going to go get Mighty Fine." And he said, "You know what? I'm going to run over to H&K and we're going to do this today." So we're going to test.
Duel.
We're going to test both.
It's bizarre because, like, if you go and have Krispy Kreme, and there's no dogging on Krispy Kreme, they've been around for a long time too. They're so light that my Mighty Fines feel heavier.
Now you had even heavier.
I would say that H&K has a denser donut,
and
it has a
donuts on the market.
and I think it has like a heartier flavor. I'm not going to say that one is better than the other, though. I can't. It's almost like
it's hard to. Yeah. It's like picking your favorite child.
But it's nice to support our really local.
It is. Yes, I think
merchants.
I think what we learned on this is local's better, right? I mean, I think
absolutely.
That, I think that local, if you have the chance and you're near either of them,
absolutely,
obviously try their stuff. If you like Mighty Fine and you don't want to drive, and you live over on the west side, and you don't want to drive as far, go check out H&K. And then if you're an H&K person and you've maybe moved over to the Harbor Creek or something like that recently, and Mighty Fine's a little closer, maybe check them out. So I don't think we're going to change anyone's opinions today.
No, I don't think we can. I got to be honest with you. I think that both of these establishments have differences that are both pro and con, in my opinion, and it's hard to compare, even though they're both donuts.
I like that. I can get something as good as Mighty Fine, 5 minutes from my house, and not have to drive as far because I live on the west side. So I think that if anything, you learn that, okay, if you I feel like in Erie, at least, H&K isn't as well known as Mighty Fine is. Obviously, West Sider, you're like, I don't know about that. So I think that's kind of what we found out. They're very similar. Just the density is about the only difference.
And I think a little bit of the flavor too is a little bit hearty. It's almost heartier, almost more like a meal at the H&K. But I will tell you that I'm used to Mighty Fine, so that's what I'm used to.
All right, let's have some more.
There's other flavors in there, friends.
I think after Julia leaves, Julia and I are going to have more.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. You know that.
We're going to try some more.
Yep.
So anyway, thanks for coming on with the donuts and everything. What we're I know I kind of teased about Olympics. Obviously, before we came on the show, we watched the end of the marathon, the women's marathon. That was pretty cool to watch. Yeah. Hassan from Netherlands win.
Yes, awesome. She deserved it.
It was a tight group toward the end. What were some of your favorite highlights this year?
Obviously Simone Biles. That was amazing, and all the other Jordan Childs, and I can't remember the other young lady's name.
Oh, Suni Lee.
Yes, they were amazing. I'm a big fan of running, so all the track and field events were amazing to watch.
The track blew it out of the park this year.
Julia used to run,
I believe.
Yes,
100 meter.
Yes.
Good for him. Awesome.
You used to run. Tell me which marathon you ran.
I've ran a few of them.
Wow.
I will put a plug in for our Erie Marathon, which I am a part of.
Awesome.
And that's coming up in September. So if you're interested, come out to Presque Isle and watch everybody making their way around there trying to qualify for Boston because we're fat and flat.
Erie folks
Flat.
are a little bigger.
Flat and fast.
Yes.
And it's a
So it's
qualifier
good to
for
get
Boston.
So they will
Nice.
use that as a qualifier
Oh,
for Boston,
absolutely.
even though it's a nice flat course. That's
Correct.
cool.
Nice. Very
Correct.
good.
So it's a
Boston
good-
is not.
Is that like a good beginner's course if someone's looking to do a marathon, you think?
No.
No?
I would try Cleveland. It's not.
Cleveland is
I
is
would
better
not.
for a
It's
beginner?
not flat, but they give you a longer time.
Mm.
Oh,
We don't
okay.
give you a longer time because
okay.
no.
So it's harder to
respect
qualify because
Mm.
there are different time levels at each marathon. Sort of what they
well,
expect.
Well, you don't qualify. I mean, just to finish,
Yeah.
we have to be done at a certain point because the press gal wants to get back to their
okay.
every
to
day.
respect
Okay.
all
Yeah.
the other visitors
so Cleveland,
that are out
they give
there.
you a little more time that you can
Correct.
finish.
Mm.
Buffalo, that's another close one. Buffalo,
Okay.
Cleveland, all the bigger cities with a little bit more time that they're
Okay.
allowed to have their marathons for.
Okay.
So if
How
you're-
long do they allot for the Presque Isle one?
I believe it's 4 hours.
Oh,
Four-
geez.
four-
Yeah, that's
five-
tight.
I can't. I mean, don't.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
remember exactly, but it is a little. Phillies are great. Probably my all-time favorite marathon is
Wow.
Philly.
Okay, and you ran that one too?
I did.
How many
Not
marathons
fast.
have you run?
I don't count. I haven't
Haven't
counted. But I've
counted?
done those ones.
So you've
Yes.
done enough that you don't know off the top of your head. That's pretty cool. That's an
Mhm.
accomplishment in
Yeah.
itself.
Again,
My
dedication.
sister has done more.
Wow.
Hi,
Wow.
Karen.
Yeah. Hi, Karen.
I think she hit 50 the other day.
Oh my! Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow.
50
Yeah,
marathons.
she's pretty awesome.
Wow. So that would be like do the math.
She's a good
little
Karen.
Bit. So how
Go
many?
Karen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Good Karens. Right.
She's not the pain in the butt Karen.
Yeah. So 50 times 26.2. Right. So
My
do
goodness.
the quick math
Well,
there.
some of them are longer. She's done some ultras too.
okay.
I've done one ultra. Yeah, one ultra.
Wow.
My goodness.
That's crazy.
So,
So you've put thousands and thousands of miles.
I have.
That's really
Now I
pretty
mainly
awesome.
walk, but that's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
But you know what they say? If you walk 26 miles, it's the same as running.
It just takes a lot
It just
longer.
takes a lot longer. Yeah. And that's what everyone says. If
Yeah.
you walk the same distance, it does.
That's
it's the
absolutely.
same health benefits. In fact, it might be easier on your body.
you know,
Even so, yeah.
I heard about it being easier on your body than running, but I have not heard that it's the same health benefit.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
if you walk 5 miles and run 5 miles, it's the same like benefits
Mhm.
of doing either. It's just walking 5 miles might take you 45 minutes, where running 5 miles might take you 30 minutes or something
just
like
a
that.
couple
you
years
know.
ago, I was walking 7 miles a day every morning, and there's just no way I'm doing that now, obviously. But I loved it.
Let's
Loved
go
it.
walk a couple miles after
We
the show.
should.
We'll walk off these donuts. Right? No, the track stuff was awesome. You're right. The track really. The first week, the swimming was kind of unfortunate this year. I don't think we really had a star in the U.S. I mean, other than like Katie Ledecky, obviously, Cole Hawker was one of my favorites. The 1500.
Oh,
and
he was amazing.
Came behind and it was like
Absolutely.
that cocky guy from Norway, and he knocked him. He didn't even
Knocked
get a
both of
medal,
them out.
and he knocked the other
one
guy
too.
from
I
Great
forget the
Britain
other
or
one.
whatever. Kerr, I think was his name, and Ingebrigtsen.
Ingebrigtsen.
But you watch
Mhm.
this little unbecoming like little guy from the U.S. You know, his little man bun. And he's running there, and he takes over everyone and gets gold.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Yeah, that was a good race.
I love the Olympics. Well, thanks for coming on. We really do
Thank you for
appreciate
inviting
you.
me.
Thank you for coming.
And you supplied us with a lot of information, a lot of stuff about the medical field and veterans and everything like that. So now I know why. I asked you earlier why Julie brought you on. Now I know why.
Now you get it.
We officially know. So thanks for joining us with her. We'll Julie and I will wrap up in a couple minutes here.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for checking us out with Julia Roussos today. Thanks for bringing her on, Julie.
I really enjoy talking to her. She is an amazing conversationalist. She gets it. She is dedicated, oodles of dedication going on with this woman, and recommits and still says she's growing. There aren't a lot of people that have that humility and that wherewithal and everything else that she exhibits. And she wants to learn more and more and more. Like
right.
She doesn't want to be a doctor per se. But she's got a doctorate in nursing.
Right. Like, so she did it not for the title. She did it because she wanted to expand her knowledge.
Yes.
Which I think is, well, that's the right way to do it, right? Not that it's wrong if you want to be a doctor, but I think that she's just always trying to improve herself.
And whenever I say, good afternoon, Dr. Roussos, she rolls her eyes. But, I mean, like I said, if I could make people call me Master Julie, then I would.
Master Julie.
But all kidding aside, really I just, Yeah, she's got a really cool take on things, and what she's doing for our community is amazing.
Yeah.
And taking care of our veterans and doing so in such a compassionate way.
Absolutely.
And then her backstory and everything that she's done. I mean, she's a marathon runner.
I know.
You have to have a certain mental toughness.
Marathon.
You have to have a mental toughness. I'm not just saying
the
local
marathons. 26
marathons.
miles without being like, oh. You know?
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like how many times she's done it. And she was running even a couple years ago. I can't believe her. She's awesome.
That was cool. So it was cool. I like coming in on Sunday mornings. I like our vibe here.
I do too.
We had our donuts.
I do too. I can't wait to have another donut.
I know. Have another donut. Have you watched any of the Olympics or no?
I have. Really? I sat down and watched the men's basketball, and I want to tell you
the gold medal game yesterday.
Yes. I want to tell you, I was very impressed with France just because they're going.
France is no joke.
They're going against USA, and these guys, like they were trying to explain, these guys, all the teams, only know each other for 2 weeks.
Right.
Like they're just getting used to each other.
You put them together in there. Yeah.
Yeah. And to go up against America, who really has been dedicated to basketball for all of these years. And it's such a big,
but even
big
the
deal.
US, that's a challenge. These guys all know each other.
Yeah.
But they only have a couple weeks to play together too. So it is crazy. I know Steve Kerr, who was the coach, they interviewed him after the game, and he was just like, that's Steph doing Steph things, because he coaches Steph Curry normally in Golden State. But when he walked away, the camera was still kind of on him, and he let out like this sigh.
Yeah.
And I think it was a sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Because he said something in the interview where he said, we're the only nation where fans are ashamed of us if we don't win gold.
I heard him say that, and I thought, oh my God,
like, that is
like got my attention.
Of the world on
that got my attention. I looked right at the TV, and I thought, dang.
Yeah, that's some pretty heavy stuff.
I mean, we can't just celebrate the fact they're experiencing this.
No, that's not America.
You know who the luckiest guy? The luckiest guy in the Olympics is Snoop Dogg.
I know.
He is like the ambassador. Is he an ambassador? I can't quite figure out what his role is.
You know when it's in LA in 4 years, you know that he's going to be like the thing. Like he's going to take over from Mike Tirico. He's going to be in the studio. He'd be like, all right, it's Snoop Dogg here.
So funny. But I was laughing because Steph Curry, I'm like watching him play, and he's like freaking, a machine over there.
Did you see that three that he did the dagger?
Over and over and over
and
over
then
again.
It was like, night.
Three. Well, we were laughing
cool.
Because it's like, who's that little short guy? I mean, Grace is like a little known fact. He's actually 6'3" or something. The rest are just really, really tall people. Like he's not short at all. But he looks comparatively.
He would be tall in an average lineup of people, right?
Yes, yeah. I watched a little sand volleyball. I watched. I think it's really cool. What's the name of that? It's not basketball, but it's. Oh, what is that?
Handball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that must be what it is.
That's the one where
that's
they throw
very
the ball
cool.
like
it's
the goal and they're around.
Yeah, it's something between basketball and hockey, and I'm thinking I'm intrigued. I can watch this all day.
Handball's one of the sports. I saw someone online. They shared a story because a lot of times when people watch the Olympics, they always go, "What's one sport if I dedicated my life to for the next 3 years that I could try to make the Olympics?"
Yeah,
and a lot of times people say handball would be the one that
handball's
they could
fun.
Make the Olympics. And
it's the funniest thing. I thought handball was you hitting the ball with your hand in a
There
court.
is that is, but this is team handball.
This is just crazy. I love it.
We used to play like in like high school, like in gym. I don't know if they ever
Grace,
did that with you, but
my daughter was.
They do that. I remember doing that because one of my friends, like on Facebook, was like handball, and I said we used to play in high school, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I do remember that now."
Wouldn't it be funny if we played like Red Rover?
Well, we were
like everyone's getting clothesline. Like I had to tell my kids when I taught not to play that because Red Rover come over, and then they would like be clothesline laying on their backs.
Or they let go and make them fall. Whatever.
Do you remember? And then dodgeball always.
Oh yeah, dodgeball.
always a game of bullies.
So my kids and I yesterday in the car we were driving home and I was making because China yesterday was up at the end of yesterday's games, they were up by 1 gold medal.
Oh.
And I know that that's like the people, you know, the U.S. has like 1 million medals, but we won't talk about that, I guess. But we were one, and I don't know what today has happened. And obviously you'll see this after the Olympics. Hopefully the U.S. pulled it out, but we were talking about how I said, but China's gold medals are in like the cheap bullshit things. like they win in table tennis, and they win in like synchronized swimming. And
wait.
No, synchronized swimming is cool.
That is very difficult.
It's really cool.
That's try swimming underwater like that.
You know what?
Dancing.
I don't. Well, they did win gold in that, by the way. But yeah, table tennis. What was the other? Badminton. You know, they win in
jarts. Remember jarts?
So and I was like, the U.S. wins.
Do they have
in like
cornhole yet?
Well, that's what we were talking about. So I said the U.S. wins in like basketball, and they win in gymnastics, and they win in swimming and track, and we live in those athletic things. And then we said, and then this year they had break dancing was new.
No way.
Yes, so that was a new one this year.
Why didn't they have that back in the 80s when they were doing
when
it?
It was big. I know, and I loved it because they would have the two, and it was like the battle. They would stand, they'd be like, all right, I'm going to go in now, and I'm going to do this, and it was kind of cool.
I want to see that. That's
you'll
cool.
have to check it out.
Yeah.
Do you have Peacock? You have to check
it
out. They have to watch it. But so my kids and I were like trying to get more and more ridiculous for the sports they could add that China would win at.
Marbles.
Like we were like, they could add
jacks.
They could add cornhole and things like that. And then we're like, they could add tag.
You know,
and then we're like, they could add the game Sorry. And then we're like, go fish. And we're like,
hide and go seek. Hide and go seek.
This lady, she's been training for Go Fish her whole life. Like she's the best Go Fish player in the world. And they're like, how do you even become a good Go Fish player? Be like, she knows everyone's tendencies when they're lying.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then we're like, yeah.
Well, you know what? I like the X Games a lot because
they've added a lot of the X Games stuff into the Olympics, because like the skateboarding
stuff like that,
and you know what I was watching in the middle of the night, because I don't sleep in the Olympics. I like to watch when they're live. It was indoor speed bike racing.
Oh yeah,
I
was watching that.
I know.
I was watching
it's nuts.
that.
They like go around and it's like this inclined track.
Yeah,
indoors.
we're all trying to figure that out.
And they're riding their bikes, and the one like hides behind the other, and then they like go in front of them.
And then these people are like only 20 years old doing this.
I know.
Like, are you kidding? Like, then, I would be like a nervous. How do they learn
some
how to
of
do
these
that?
Athletes, especially from some of these other countries,
are these kids learning how to do this?
These kids, like there is a guy. Well, even for the
where
US,
are their mothers?
He was 16. He won a gold medal, and he was like, "I really have school in 2.5 weeks."
Wait, do they have rock climbing? Do they have like?
They do have sport climbing. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, they have climbing. Cool. Yeah, so the Summer Olympics and the Winter have taken on some of the like the X Games.
X Games are my favorite.
They have the skateboarding now. They have the climbing. They have.
Not that I don't like the Olympics. It's I love the Olympics always, but they've changed so much since I was a kid. Like, you know, it was just.
I lean toward Winter Olympics.
Oh, me too. That's my favorite. It's a little faster, a little more.
Everything's
compelling.
On ice or snow.
Yeah. And I'm.
Everything's fast. Like
I'm a downhill skier. I skied slalom like
stuff.
When I was in college. So
remember when Apollo Antonoto, he did it was the short track speed skating.
Oh yeah.
That was intense.
The only thing I didn't understand is what do they do that
curling?
Yeah, that's the funniest. Curling. Yeah, I like it too, but it's the funniest
We should take an episode on the road and go learn how to curl.
Yeah,
I went one time with a friend. It was pretty cool. It was neat.
I'd love to do that.
Curling's kind of fun. I'll just watch it or whatever.
So anyway, but yeah, Julia, and then talking about the Olympics and what she's doing, and then doing the donut taste testing. I love that. So I think this was a great episode. I just, I think that,
pat ourselves on the back. Good episode.
Yeah. But I love when we get people on here and talk about some quality things.
That was the phrase I came up with was, the unsung heroes. We help them sing. And I think that's a cool thing is we bring on, folks that some of you know, some of you might not know, and we help them, we share what they're sharing with the community.
Right.
And I think that's really cool. So that's why we're here. Yep. So, as always, thanks for joining us.
Yes.
We always appreciate you. And
appreciate you.
Appreciate you. I like to say presciente. It's just like a thing. I'll be like presciente. Don't know why. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Thanks. All right, now we'll do